You need to erase me, it's all just a game. You think I'm gonna play, but baby you should do whatever you need to erase me. Baby, 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 you need to erase me. Baby, you should do whatever you need to erase me.
Just look on, and I'll look down, and all your fears around the ground. Then you said, all I ever wanted was to love like this. All I ever needed was to feel like something more than a closed door flat on the floor. I can offer so much more. All I ever wanted was to feel at ease. All I ever needed was to get up off my feet. 'Cause I believe in hold on just a little. Only right here in the middle ground is where we'll stand. Let go of the brittle, 'cause you'll find life is a riddle that we're not meant to understand. Hold on, stop. Hold on, stop. Hold on. Right here in the middle. Hold on. Right, hold on, stop.
You live?
Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to World League Esports. This is WLE 10K. That's right, your new home of esports. And my name is William. I'm back again. It's been a while, and we are so happy to bring you these two teams that are going to be fighting it over on the low brackets. And it's going to be intense because whatever team loses, they go home. It's over. And joining me today is the one and only Olympus on my digital left or right, whichever way it is orientated on your screen. Olympus, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing amazing. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic, dude. It's been I don't know if it's been 2 weeks or if it's been a week, but yeah, I've been itching to cast the game. And today, who do we have, dude?
Oh, today we've got some of what I believe will be the best action coming out from the lower bracket. We have Dark Esports going against DNMK, two very capable teams. As we saw yesterday night, Dark Esports went against VG and they beat them 2-1 in the 2-0 rather in their best of three yesterday. And DNMK are here. They had a bit of a rough time. Of course, that's because they were in the pool stages with 80K and Vibin, I believe. So the two teams struggled a little bit, but they are here. And this, like you said, it's the last chance for either of these teams to lose, and they're out of the WLE 10K. So I am so excited to get this over and done with. So as we are getting ready here in the lobby, it's going to be a best of three. Consulate is the first map that we start on, and Dark Esports are starting on attack. Now, if you watched last night's match against VG, you know Dark Esports are absolutely clinical on their attacks on Clubhouse, which, by the way, will be the second map. And then the tiebreaker will be Oregon if we do get to it. What do you think is going to happen in terms of a scoreline here, William?
I don't know. As everybody knows, I've been keeping my eye on Dark Esports because they came in pretty dark, right? In the first stages of the tournament, but they've shown to be a very efficient team. And not to put anything away from DMNK, they've been strong and they're also well known as well. So it's going to be a fight to the death, and we'll see who comes out on top. Both the teams have had quite a bit of a journey. There's been upsets along the way. There's been 7-0s, there's been 7-1s. So hopefully it's not that much of a runaway on this match. And I want these two teams to give us a hell of a fight. And I want to see Oregon. I don't know. I don't know about you, but I'm going to keep to my tradition, Olympus, and I'm going to stick with Dark Esports to take this one 2-1. So that leaves you with DMNK. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I'm also feeling rather confident for DNMK because they are a strong squad. We have the likes of Jason, who was their coach, but now he plays as a player and as an IGL, if I'm not wrong. Crushers, Mario, Leventis, especially as a fragger, he's proficient on those entries. So I am super confident that they are going to take this. But I do believe it's going to be a close one. 2-1 is the scoreline that we want to see. And I really hope that we do get to Oregon. That's not to say that Dark Esports aren't bringing the heat, because yesterday, Naka, especially as a support player, he was checking all the boxes on the checklist of what a support player is supposed to do. He was getting in, supporting his teammates with the drone work, especially. The information game is what we talked about last night with Sunset. The information game from Dark Esports is just marvelous. And part of that is because of how proficient Naka is at droning. He's also good at getting the diffuser planted. I think they were like 5 plants in the 5 attacking rounds they played. It was really good to see him play that, and also on defense. So 2 teams that are going to be clashing heads here. It's going to be amazing to watch.
Yeah, and I do love an information-based game myself. And don't forget, everyone, there is a giveaway. And today we do have a question. This goes out to all the Valkyrie mains out there. And the question is, Valkyrie's real name. And I would say name and surname, but if you get the name right, that's also accepted. So if you can just head over to the Twitch World League ESP and comment her name there, and you'll be entered into the draw and stand a chance of winning an awesome mouse mat and one of my favorite t-shirts, all branded. So now that the players are ready, Olympus, in the lobby, we should be getting on with this match anytime soon. Getting ready to go into the ban phase. to see how the teams will be crippling each other in terms of what operators they're going to ban. And obviously, Consulate being a very it's been up and down, right? Being attacker sided some seasons and being defender sided some seasons. And I'm thinking this season it's sort of attacker sided. So I, for ban phase wise, I'm probably looking at a Jackal and a Thatcher, maybe. Thatcher's always banned. I mean, and I'm proven wrong right away with a Blackbeard ban right off the bat. That's because of all the windows, obviously, and him having that face shield is just
What?
advantage. Oh my god, this is really spicing up right now. As we see, Ayana being banned by Dark Esports. These are weird bans so far. And there goes the chick that we have a question about on with today's question. Valkyrie also banned out because of all the information. But nonetheless, there's still a Maestro, there's still a Mozzie being played, and Kaid also taken out of the board. Olympus, quite weird to see these operator bans.
Weird doesn't even cut it. Blackbeard, I mean, yeah, like you said, William, he's being taken off the board because of how many windows there are on this map. But then again, how strong is Blackbeard really that he warrants a ban? After receiving what has been an infinite number of nerfs at this point, his face shield is essentially useless. It can still absorb one bullet, and one bullet in this game could be the difference between life or death. But come on, man, it's a Blackbeard.
Hey man, when there's somebody else with a Blackbeard and you need to fire off one bullet and switch to someone else, it may count. But as you said, that one bullet may be the cause of a life or death, and at the end, a round, and at the end, a map, and at the end, a match, and at the end, that's the prize pool right there. So yeah, maybe they have something planned, obviously, banning out that Blackbeard, and we'll see if that'll deter Dark Esports from being able to attack the side, which is Archives and Tellers. Pretty weird side to go to first, but it is a very strong side. Most teams rather prefer to go there either on their third time of a switch, but we're going to see it being played first right now. So off, and we'll see what Dark Esports does to attack the site.
William, I agree with you. Arcade does tend to be the tertiary site because people usually start off maybe on the top floor and then they move on to garage, or they switch the two around and then they choose to go to archives. But yeah, DNMK have been known for playing, I guess, off play on defenses, because remember in the match against ATK when they were on Cafe, they were playing defenses on the top floor end of that reading floor, and they weren't really playing pixel like we expect a lot of defending teams to play. So I'm not too surprised that DNMK are gonna throw out, you know, a tertiary site as the first one. And on the side of Dark Esports, looking at the operator composition, I think that's a good read because they didn't invest a lot of heavy hard reach, right? So, you know, that's what you kind of expect when attacking the garage to get the wall open. But that's not the case for Dark Esports. So I think it's a good read from both of these teams. Just as we get into the first round, both of them are trying to find a read on each other and to find out how the other team is going to be playing. And right now it looks like there's a bit of an extended game from DNMK. We have set up the Mozzie and the Mute in that cafe and
And while you're saying that, while they're trying to read each other, this may be a detriment to Dark Esports because time is trickling down. So the time will be on DMNK's favor while Pulse is getting some info on everybody on that top floor. Not quite sure if that's on. And Crusher with a lead off pick onto Noctos. This is a good start for DMNK, leaving the Thatcher off the board, not being able to use these EMPs. This is going very drastic for Dark Esports as they're still on top floor in admin trying to clear out any roamers just below them. But they might have control over the side above, which is Tellers, I believe. So yeah, maybe they'll be attacking that site, but they do have to deal with Jason on the pulse, who's below them and getting some intel, and a Mario holding off on the garage, courtesy of the mirror. So it's going to be quite difficult to get those players off of those positions, but they should have a plan right now, as they do have control over the top side, and execute might be happening soon. With 9 players on the board still, this is going to be a mess.
Oh, it's going to be a mess for sure, as Juventus is eliminated by Ivor, and Naka is on the ground, as is the diffuser as well. 15 seconds after it is recovered and then planted, but DNMK is there to finish off Naka finally. Alex attempts the plant, but there's so many C4 still left on the side of DNMK. One goes off to get wavy. It's all up to Crushers right now, actually, who gets the C4 kill. Not too sure what's happening there, as my stream is lagging a little bit, but the first round goes into the favor of DNMK, and a solid defense, if I do say so myself.
Very solid indeed, with all those C4s and heavy information driven round at that time, especially by Mario, I think, who was on the pulse. I may be wrong if I'm reading that, but well played for them, sticking to their guns down in archives, I believe, and just picking off a Dark Esports from below. Dark Esports should have made an attempt to challenge somebody down in garage or something, but they stuck to their guns and went straight for the side, and they got pummeled by all the C4s. They didn't even try to plant on the desks or anything, which might have helped a little bit, but yeah. I mean, DMNK were playing comfortably below, and it paid dividends to their strat. Now we're heading over to the lobby and piano side of things. DMNK's side order is very unorthodox at the moment, so maybe that might throw off Dark Esports, maybe it might not. But so far from seeing the previous round, it kind of threw them off. They were well prepared for that round, but I don't think they were prepared for so many C4s being below.
Yeah, DNMK came with 4 C4 last round, and they had a pulse as well. So lots of information and lots of knowledge that was, in the end, instrumental to them getting themselves that first win. I think more so was the fact that Dark Esports spent a bit of time, and I'd say a little bit too much time, trying to drone out the top floor and trying to get some sort of control onto the teller's site itself, because they were just kind of peeking through the floor, looking in at it, and you shouldn't really expect to see anyone in Tellers because it's not that much of a playable room. What instead DNMK did was they had everyone set up downstairs with C4s just waiting to pounce, and I guess maybe Dark didn't read into that quickly enough to win them the round. Nonetheless, they will be trying to read into what is now a lobby defense from DNMK, and yes, William, I agree. They are throwing out rather odd bomb sites.
Yeah, the order of the bomb sites is kind of odd. So, but now Dark and Wavy and his team are heading over into the admin side of things, as they usually do. They seem to prefer taking almost the map straight from here. They should be clearing a roamers quite momentarily. Right now, Leventus is approaching someone. Leventus tries to shoot him down, but Noctos eliminates him. That's a nice pick from Noctos, but he is down to about 5 HP, so that's going to be quite crucial as he heads over into the round. Now, that is dangerous for him, as he is the Thatcher. Very important to the team, and he's very taking chances right now. Keeping he has no support. A jump out by the Malusi that doesn't manage to pick off anyone at all, but she does manage to get back into the building undeterred. So that's a misread by Dark Esports. They should have caught that out and eliminated her. So she survives still. A little bit of HP taken away from her, but that's no damage done.
That was a risky play from Jason because it's so dangerous, especially in half once you let your defender to jump out and make it back in. But Crusher is got there by Wavy. That's the Maestro gone as well. So one left which should be coming shortly, as there are 40 seconds or so left on the board. There is still some sort of roam presence from Dandaman, and Mario, I believe, was underneath the circle desk. Yeah, in fact, he is still there. He is poised there with the C4 because at this point, they didn't be expecting to find anyone, but actually Dandaman finds Noctos, who was still outside there, and he's able to sweep past this Claymore just a bit. And sure, he's going to out here on yellow stairs. Dandamano actually finds Alex instead. There are just 10 seconds left, and that diffuser is not going down just yet. Of course, as I say that, Tanaka will be attempting to get it. And yes, he is. So things are looking good now, though there are just 2 players left on both sides. At this point, really, it's anyone's game.
It is indeed with Dandaman left with Mario on the Mozzie. Mario finds off Wavy and another one taken off the board, which comes down to a 1v1, which is Ivor and Mario. And Dark is expecting that run out by Mario as he's aiming onto the floor. Time is trickling down, 16 seconds left. Who's going to make the move? Mario needs to make a decision fast. He exceeds the run out and goes for the window. He jumps out. He still loses the round. He goes for the defuse and Mario does take him out, but there's no time left. 2 seconds and the round goes to Dark Esports. It's well played by Dark Esports. Very meticulous on the attack, Olympus, and at some point, it seemed like they were running out of time, as we see somebody says they have a little bit of a bug, not sure what it is. So we'll see if they're going to be asking for a rehost or not.
1-1 is the scoreline here, as both of these teams have shown us that they can clutch the round in the last dying seconds. Like you said, William, there, it looked like Dark Esports was slowly getting cut down and their attack was being slowed down, especially by Dan the man, who's just somehow finding everyone. I thought he was gonna die sooner, honestly. But he did get some impactful frags, which in the end, I guess, weren't that impactful because the person he should have been finding there is Naka. Naka is the man that we talked about before we started this on the side of Dark Esports as being able to get those diffusers planted. And yeah, that round just showed us that he's instrumental at doing it. Of course, he died leaving his teammate in a 1v1, but at the end, there was a player who was on the rappel, that's Ivor, who's also another very proficient fragger. He was in a better position there as he had the time on his side, he had the angles on his side. I don't think there's much that Mario could have done in that situation, because if he runs out, he gets the kill, he might not get the kill because of the information, and even if he does, he might not have enough time to get back in, because there were about 15 seconds left, and the diffuser takes about 7 to go off, so a good attempt from Mario, but in the end, it's Dark Esports who have equalized things here, and now we finally, which is kind of odd to say in round number 3, we finally see a regular bomb site as DNMK decided to defend this bottom floor.
Indeed, and they have an extended roam as usual all the way to the top floor, so they'll be deterring Dark Esports from coming into admin. I think they've made the read so far because they know Dark Esports have been entering into admin all along, so they'll probably be challenging them very early on right now. If Dark Esports reads into this, they might be able to make some sort of an execute and penetrate into the lobby, as there doesn't seem to be much attention being paid to that lobby. So right now it's a bit of a chess game, and a chess game by Leventus peeking into Ivor and eliminating him, running away with full HP, and that's the Sophia off the board with no utility left. That is very dangerous, but they do have the energy. She can take care of some of the utility for the attackers.
That is very huge, especially for a take on the bottom floor, because that's some of your soft destruction and your concussion gone as well. Given that Dark Esports do not have a sledge nor a bus on their lineup, that could spell trouble for them. But look at the top left, and we see that they have 5 charges, so that could still help them open up this piano floor and then take control of what they need to take control of. But right now, Jason is taking control of the gunfight, and Naka's HP to 20, somehow still survives, and he's fighting for the piano with all his life. He's finally eliminated as a pinch comes from Wavy, and there isn't much he could do there. That was a split take, and he was being aimed at from multiple angles. Dandaman, though, is able to find a refrag there, and Wavy is trying to find a second, but he is going in here blind. I don't think he has the intel. Could be the end of him.
Indeed, and that getting that intel is really hard, especially seeing that Dynaman is playing the mute and he's stopping all the drones from detecting him. But he is in rather a bad place right now, but he is going to be helped with at the Malone. As that gets destroyed, and right now he's in a bad place. He's going to be tucked in between lots of players from Dark Esports, but they leave him alone. The Ash is completely clueless, and Dynaman gets a free kill. It's Wavy. Oh my word, you should be careful. The Vent is adding on to the kill count, eliminating Naka, but Noctos gets a pick of his own. But only 7 seconds left, and they're not going to be able to put that diffuser down. And surely this round goes to DNMK with Noctos left running around without the diffuser. That was a misplay that absolutely crushed Dark Esports, and yeah, they had him on the ropes, and they probably thought he jumped down the hatch, which he didn't. He played an off position and just waited for them to run in, and it just completely left him alone. And Ash, not knowing what to do, but peeked the hatch, and that was the downfall for Dark Esports. And DMNK gets another round, which makes it 2-1.
2-1 indeed is the scoreline, and I'm kind of surprised to see a Flores. I'm sure that's going to be sixth picked off of. Yeah, of course. There's no way to be seeing a Flores as he
What's
is
wrong with Flores?
He is not yet available for the competitive scene. Nothing wrong with him as an operator. I think he's going to be actually very interesting to watch in this competition setting. But right now, he's just going to have to find his home in ranked and casual. That last round, though, oh my word, the play from that man, the positioning. Personally, if I were waiting around the hatch, peeking into that bathroom area, I would have looked down the hatch 10 times out of 10, because I wouldn't have been expecting the guy to be crouching on top of the toilet there. But good work from Dan the man, like we were talking about just playing mute as he is playing this round. They probably didn't have information on him, and they probably didn't have that much time. Because, like you called it out perfectly, William, the extended range coming out from DNMK that round was superior. They were defending garage, but they had people all the way at the top of Vicious stairs. That was Leventis getting so aggressive so early on, putting his team in the man advantage by taking out Ivor, who was playing the Zofia, so that was a double whammy, and it was so impactful in how the rest of the round came out. Because once they had lost the Zofia, they then needed to take control not only of the top floor, but of the piano, where Jason was able to take so much HP off of Naka and just continually waste time. And that's kind of what you do when you're defending, right? If you really can't play in the site, you extend the bomb site and you play in other areas you can hold as power positions or as places where you can shoot drones, waste time, and then fall back. And that's what we see happening yet again. Leventis here is in Visa, as was Jason, but he has dropped down the hatch. And Dark Esports are taking this a little bit slowly because they don't want to be caught off guard like they were for last year.
Indeed, they're a very meticulous team, and at some point, meticulous does turn into time wasting. So even though they're meticulous, they need to manage their time and kind of be more efficient and speed it up a little bit, because they're getting caught out at the end, having to use that 10-second meta, which is a bit up and down at the moment, because it did work for them in the second round and it didn't work for them in the previous round. So we'll see if it works for them this time around. I'm not sure that'll be the case. It seems like they are speeding it up as Habana is trying to open up those amazing walls, but they're getting shot out by the echo on the Mario. That is well played by him. And yeah, Jason has backed up into connector, so he's going to be supporting his teammates right now. So it seems like DNMK has gotten back to site mostly, as Leventis is still roaming in the bottom floor. Wavy on the edge to get rid of the shield, and they're going to be making an assault onto that meeting room. That meeting room is unoccupied for now, but DMNK does have lines of sight into it, so they're going to be challenged by them. So it's not going to be an easy feat to take that meeting site at all.
It's not going to be easy, especially because Alex is still down on the floor and hasn't been recovered. And 30 seconds between is this round being a 2-2 scoreline or a 3-1 scoreline. So as we go into this extra phase, I'm still wondering how Alex is still on the ground. Naka follows him as well as he's eliminated there by Mario. Great position. The bench is hard onto the floor. Zelda comes alive and knocked down Wavy, knocks down Ivor as well. He is left there, but his back is down, but it's not enough to win Dark Esports the round. Mario there with the last kill, closing things out for his team. What a flick, my word.
DMNK is running away with it right now, leaving Dark Esports in the dark. Pardon my puns. But at the moment, yeah, Dark Esports is falling flat a little bit on their attacks. They are seeming to be quite one-sided in a sense that they are not pinching enough lines of sight. They're not pinching enough angles. As we saw, DMNK was comfortably playing bathroom, connector, and office very comfortably, and they were able to challenge the long desk and meeting very comfortably at that. And Dark Esports was forced to just funnel their way into meeting, and it didn't play out well for them. I mean, you can't just funnel into one door. That Elder is going to rip you to shreds as you walk in, as we saw Crushers make use of it. So hopefully they have a plan for next time we see them on that site. But right now it's going to lobby, and Dark Esports needs to get another point on the board, but DMNK is looking to run away with this so far.
Right now there's a 2-round differential in favor of DNMK, and if I feel if Dark Esports don't stop this momentum right now, it could really run away from them, and DNMK could take them cleanly on this map. Some trends that I have noticed, William, and I don't know if you'll agree with me, but DNMK's defense, they're kind of like an onion in that there's so many layers, and it's taking Dark Esports so much time just to dissect one layer.
Indeed, and knowing a Dark Esports attack, I think DMNK is reading quite well into their attacks. They're meeting them in the entry points of where they want to come in, and then they just fall in back. And as you say, Olympus, they have to peel away on one layer of an onion, but after that you need to peel away on the other, and DMNK is just falling back till they're all safe in sight and they're able to challenge them. And by that time, there's only a couple seconds left, and that leaves you very little room to plan and execute, get rid of whatever roamers who were there that you didn't deal with earlier, and now they have you on the flank and you have to deal with them. And then you have to do an execute, and it's just a lot to deal with at the end of the round. So if they don't speed things up on a roam clear, it's obviously biting them at the end. And right now we see Jason and somebody else, I think they're in connector, or he might have support of the Malusi, challenging the top floor right now. And as you see, Doc Wavy gets a shot on the Leventus. Doc Wavy has had enough of Leventus and shuts him down early. That is the Jaeger off the board, but the trophy systems are up somewhere, so he's still useful in this fight, but he does have to do it from camera work.
Time is the thing that has been the downfall of Dark Esports. Ivor falls to the ground. They've gone as well. Alex follows him closely. That's the Jackal off the board. I was saying time is something that Dark Esports have been suffering with, and I don't know how they could speed it up, because like you said, DNMK are just reading perfectly. So that kill from Wavy onto Leventis, I'm not exactly sure how he got that, swinging in on a rappel, but good on to him. Now the thing is though, there are 3 players left on the attack, and they have to start setting up an execute of some sort. There is so much utility still on the side of DNMK that they haven't dealt with: the Banshees, the ADSs, the the Maestro cameras, and with that's just going to make it so difficult to get this plant down. Dandaman though has such an angle onto yellow stairs, and that's Noctos on the other side of it. He could be on the receiving end of a bullet. He tosses out an EMP, trying to make a play here, and something has got to give as we go into the last 10 seconds.
Indeed, only 10 seconds left. Somebody has to make a move. Naka's trying to plant the freezer, and he is stopped by Mario. And Mario on the tail with DNMK with the last kill. And a very slow round by Dark Esports, and that is a very, very detrimental round for them. But a very good round for DMNK as they take the fifth round and going on to round 6. Dark Esports needs to pick things up a little bit. It's not looking good for them so far. And yeah, I mean, Olympus, it's getting it's getting to be a little bit of an old tale for Dark Esports right now. They are spending way too much time either trying to create angles, trying to get into position, trying to roam clear. And as you saw, they were left with 27 seconds left to make an execute. And now you're forced to plant blind in a sense. I mean, mm, sure, they might have cover, but you didn't clear enough to make that execute. And that didn't work out for them at the end.
That, alongside the fact that I feel like Dark Esports are losing a lot of entries where they shouldn't. Iva is what I consider their entry fragger, as he plays a lot of the spear, and he is kind of falling early, and that's not really a good thing, especially if you're the one who's supposed to be making people fall early. So maybe he needs to tighten up his game a little bit. I'm not exactly sure why Dark Esports are suffering though, because they had such a great information game yesterday against BG, and right now it looks like they don't have enough information to deal with the setups that are coming out from DNMK. Of course, the defenders are investing so heavily in this extended roam setup, and the possibility of doing that is if you have such a roam heavy strat, you leave yourself open to a rush from the attackers. So maybe Dark Esports need to find that, and that could be why we're seeing an Amaru. But given the fact that the site is garage, I'm not entirely sure how that's going to be beneficial to rushing the site. Maybe to rushing a roamer who's off-site.
Yeah. And may I point out as well, the operator composition by DMNK has been very superb. I mean, one round, I think they both had a mute and a mozzie, which cuts out a lot of information from Dark. And that's why they've been struggling to get a lot of information on DMNK. And that wastes a lot of time. So they composition is really good. They're either bringing a mute or they bring in a mozzie, paired up with a lot of Crush's Maestro cams and either Banshees as well. It's really slowing down Dark Esports to a point where they can't even make an execute till the last second. So they need to make something happen here. But right now the war is open with only 1 minute 36 seconds left. So far they've made good progress, and every player is still alive on the board. Whether that's good for either team, no one can say. But right now it is looking good for DMNK. Dark Esports needs to find a pick or somehow or eliminate those evil eyes, because that's going to be a problem later on. They do have the Kali who's going to be dealing with one of those Maestro cams, and misses. You got to get rid of that.
Did it miss? They get stuck on the bottom of the van? Oh, that's unfortunate. Unfortunate, though he still has enough utility to get actually he's done with his Kali Lance devices, so that's it. They're gonna have to find a way to get through the two C4s, the one impact and the Maestro cameras that are still active. Some headway is made as Jason takes so much damage. He's still, this is the thing, the home game is still very active. But Naka is actually attempting a plant here. Will he be successful? That yet remains to see. Mario has been down and he's on the floor. Iva is eliminated as is Naka, but he done so after getting the diffuser on the ground. It's just chaos as bodies are hitting the floor right now, and the only one left standing is Wavy Scratch. That thing is gone, and that's a 5-1 lead for DNMK as they have just collapsed on that post-plant situation. Beautiful work on them for retaking that.
What a retake indeed. That plant went down with almost every single player still alive except for one, I believe. And that was really risky, but they saw an opportunity, they went for it, and it didn't pay off in the end. But after that, diffuser went down. DMNK just collapsed onto a Dark Esports. They didn't get out of the danger zone in time, and they all fell. And thanks to crushes with that elder, just eliminating most of them, paid dividends to DMNK getting that round. But well played from them. And now we switch over as it is a 5-1 split. We'll see what Dark has for defense for us as they head over to cafeteria and garage. It has been quite a match so far, but I'm not liking the runaway right now. It's like Dark Esports needs to fight a little bit more, in my opinion.
You mentioned the dangers of William, and I think we are almost there because DNMK are one round away from match point. So if I were Dark Esports at this point, I would take my tactical timeout. I would say, hey, let's cut down on this momentum these guys are bringing because it's way too much. And I think that, just that 1 minute pause, it really works beautifully in slowing things down a little bit, getting everyone level-headed, saying as a coach, let's all get on the same page, let's get on the same side. What's not working, what's working, let's fix it. Let's work on making sure that no more rounds are granted to DNMK. So right now, given the fact that sides have switched, maybe that momentum has shifted a little bit, but we are yet to see that as an attack starts to form here, as DNMK are taking both the eastern and the western side of this top floor as they attempt to work their way slowly down to cafeteria.
Yep, and that is the major difference between these two teams, is that DMNK is having a split push onto the roam clear right now, which means Dark Esports is going to be trapped in between. That's my job. Get that breaching charge off the wall. And right now, they're trying to get that player off a meeting. I believe it is either the mute who's up on top, which is Alex. He's going to be approached by the Zofia. The Zofia stun comes in, which causes him to pre-fire. He should drop the hatch momentarily, and he does. Escapes with his life, and that is well played by him. But that is DMNK's floor up top. So they have full control, but they have 1 minute and 50 seconds left. So far, no damage done, no harm done, and time is still good on both ends. And we'll see what kind of attack that DMNK has prepared as they're getting closer to making that execute happen. But they need to find a pick. Either one team needs to find a pick at this point.
The only damage that has been done on so far is just about 20 or so on the Alex, who has situated himself into the bathroom there of that piano area of this map. The first engagement, I think for the first time, that goes in the favor of Dark Esports is Dandaman gone. That's an interesting trend actually now that I think about it. The Zofia has been dying the first one all this time, and good on Ivor. Now I think they need to play maybe a little bit reserved. They don't want to give away the advantage that they built here. Oh, the swing comes up, the shotgun is not able to connect. Later is this SMG-11. Leventis eliminates Alex, who was, I think, the last roaming presence of Dark on this second floor. Now they have the control they need. Piano floor starts to get open momentarily, as you can see the scrambling on the side of Dark Esports. Everyone's just kind of running around trying to find a good position to play in, as they are being made rather uncomfortable as the Sledge and the Ash work on that floor up above. There is presence on yellow stairs, and a toxic blade comes out trying to deny some of that plan potential. 20 seconds out there. And what he's doing, coming out there rather aggressively from knockdowns, he downs the Ventic and has to see the opening they need, but he's immediately restarted by Crushes. He's just breathing in all those toxic babes, and Dark Esports collapse. Look at the flurry of kills on that kill feed, all going in their favor, and now, like I said, the momentum has been stopped.
That was a very close call, though, as Dark Esports were forced to retreat into Cafe and backside close to Archives. And it seemed like DMNK had full control over Piano, Yellow Stairs, and Garage. And as the execute happened, I think Alex swung over into Yellow Stairs and eliminated whoever was there, but he was refragged, as Olympus said. And as they rushed into Garage, they were met by Dark Esports, a flurry of attacks and bullets, and they were stopped before they can even get a plan down. So Dark Esports seems to be alive, And they got another round on the board, which makes it a
Attackers need to
5-2.
locate
So
and
they
defuse as
still
many
need to
bombs
catch
as
up.
they
They
can.
still have another 3 rounds to go. Let's head over to meeting and office and see if it will pay dividends to them to getting a third round on the board.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
Mario right now is going boost mode on the kills. He's leading the lobby with 9 and he has died only once. So his AD will be looking very good after this match. At least it's looking very good right now. I want to talk about Wavy because he had picked a Clash, then he picked off the Clash, and
5 seconds to insertion.
I'm just gonna spitball my thoughts here, freestyle a little bit.
Attackers have
But I
detected
think that
diffuser
Clash
bomb.
wouldn't do well on this map, but not really on this map, but on the top floor, which is where Dark takes their second defense. Because on that top floor, they just so many windows, right? Like you can see the one Vent is looking into, and they create so many angles onto the playable area where a Clash would be effective. What do you think?
And true indeed, like you are right there, and you either have to be very careful, or the player behind you has to be very careful, because following the clash, you might be exposing yourself to so many other angles, and maybe they do know that they just were teasing the clash just so they can sixth pick. So right now, an attack is going over into admin side of things, pushing Knockdots back into the hallway area, and he might be met with Mario as he's trying to retreat. Mario has the cutoff, and the assault is coming in to admin and printers as Leventus pushes through. They now have full control over admin, so they're going to be pushing Dark Esports back into the office, and they'll be trying to take that meeting sound of things. And now we saw, I think Wavy was trying to challenge them. She still has those laser gates to protect her, and they will give her intel as to when they so that is good utility usage right now, and there's the clue and cue for her to start preparing for a gunfight. And there's a lot of DNMK members from there, and a lot of Dark Esports players also ready for the fight in long death. This is going to be one heck of a mess right now. 1 minute and 20 seconds left, and the long death wall is open. The Mew goes for it. Dump out Dark. Either takes out Mario. That is a good pick as the sledge is off the board. Smoke canisters flying out. Olympus, somebody's still trapped outside. What is going on right now?
It's absolute mayhem right now. Dandaman is 21 HP. They are meeting, and they finally push the Muse off of it. He decides to fall back down, and that's the good play from Ivor. Right now, though, Alex is beneath site. Some of his players, like Wavy, from connector into site. Jason will be attempting the diffuser. Where is the denial? There are C4s on the board. There are kills off the stage. None of them being just yet, though the guns are. Ivor wakes up, he gets Dandaman. Juventus with an immediate refrat. That's Wavy off the board. 3 members of the team stand between Esports and victory, and bodies continue to fall. It's all just Jason left, and right now Dark Esports looking so strong. You just need to find this ace, and then they have another board of diffusing that diffuser. Those get Alex, and they're so we could eliminate all of them. As Noctus falls as well, but Naka is there to redeem the round. And my, that was close. My heart is racing because I really thought Jason was gonna crash that one.
Yeah, they were throwing bodies at him, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is how a 4v1 or 4v2 turns into a 1v1. But they were able to salvage it at the end and able to defuse as there were 15 seconds left still. So the time was there. Well played by Dark Esports, and that was a very shady round indeed, and very messy as well. Seems like the same story happening with DMNK as well. Also wasting a little bit of time, stalling here and there, which causing them to get the diffuser down a little bit later onto the round than expected. But this time, I think a DMNK had a little more urgency than Dark Esports. So maybe if they hype it up a little more, they might be successful. So Dark Esports needs to watch out for that. They're playing a very close game right now, and if they let a round slip, that is going to be match point. So Olympus, we are very close to seeing match point right now. What do you think Dark Esports needs to do? Should they change, or should they speed things up a little bit? Should they play more aggressively, a little bit more passively, or should they just keep on going on the same trail?
Yo, to say that it's close would be an understatement. The round differential has continued to get even smaller right now, as Dark Esports have put 2 rounds in a row, which puts them at 3-5, which isn't that big of a gap. But like you said, DNMK are just 1 round away from match point. So what I think needs to happen is that we keep doing what they're doing, whatever it is. Because clearly it's working. They struggled a little bit on their attacks, but on their defenses, it seems like they're able to play the map more into their favor. They are in control of the round, as most of the opponents are going in the way.
True, and I think maybe on the retake there were a couple of communication issues because they pushed that player one player at a time, which is not what you want to do, especially in that situation. You want to push them at once, both of you at once, so they can shoot in front of them and behind them at the same time. But right now, this is good time management made by DNMK, as they have partially the top floor control, but they will be contested by Wavy on Jaeger. He's going to be playing at that meeting room for death because he's surrounded right now, but he does have support from, I think, the mute who is Nectar. Sophia stuns are flying in, and that was a flame. I think that was a Goyo shield being destroyed. Aventus with another swing. This man is crazy with his swings right now, eliminating Wavy. They have meeting right now, and they're pushing Dark Esports back. Let's just runs into Connector and swallows the bullet off the mute. That is eliminated. Equal man count right now, and it's a mess in the top floor. Crush is getting a pick of his own. What is happening right now? But DMNK does have control over the second floor, and as I say that, he doesn't. Noctos peeks from the hatch and circle desk and eliminates Leventus. It's now 3v3.
Attackers drop the diffuser.
Madness, absolute madness is going on right now, as both teams are just throwing everything at each other right now. So it has slowed down. Of course, as they say that a caster curses, look at that, 2 bodies from DMNK as left as compared to the one on dark side. It's Naka. He is the one who has the task of calling out this match point. He has the positioning now as he has fallen back from the yellow stairs onto the connector. He sees the diffuser going down, he tosses out the toxic grenade. Does it do any damage though is the question. Well, the answer doesn't matter. Crashes finds a headshot onto him, puts an end to what was so much chaos that round. And 6-3 is the scoreline, and I think now it's safe to say we are in the danger zone if you're a fan for Dark Esports.
Danger zone indeed, and Dark Esports is on the hot seat right now. DMNK laughing and waiting to take that 7th round and finish this map off. So DMNK, as I said, they had more urgency than Dark Esports, and it's paid dividends to them as they were able to take that round. And it was a mess in the top floor, as I may say. Kills coming in left and right, but at the end, it was in favor of DMNK. At some point, I thought Dark Esports had it there, with some picks coming from the circle desk, but DMNK was able to rotate and eliminate their player and take full control of lobby. And since they had control of top floor, they were able to start and execute and get a plan down. And Dark Esports smoke, I think it was Anaka, wasn't able to stop the plant, and the round went to DMNK. Right now, Dark Esports is going to head over to Garage to kind of soften the blow and try to catch up on the round count, and we'll see what they have in store for us this time.
Let's talk about that last round though, because the vent is on that swing into meeting.
Ventus is mean on the Ash.
Yo, if I was the player who was caught out from that swing, I think it was Wavy, I would have just been like, what? Why is he swinging? His finger on the W, and he is not stopping. Right now he has 8 for 8 for 8, which is oddly satisfying to see there on the right side of the screen. And he adds on to that tally, he gets a 9th kill. Naka is gone, and that's gonna be tough. Man, as is the smoke, he's off the board with just 30 seconds gone. Very, very early engagement coming out, and it's looking to be the end of things here on Consulate, because more often than not, the team that gets the opening kill is the one that wins the round.
That is true, and that is a major blow onto Dark Esports losing that smoke. Not sure how it happened though, because you don't want that happen. Oh, it seems like he was caught either rotating or maybe he was challenging that window, which you don't want to do as a smoke. But Leventus not stopping, as you said. Olympus wants to go on till the fight is
Bomb
over
located by
in
attackers.
Consulate. He's doing what Dragon should be doing, and that on the ass that Alpha C, he's been a crazy right now. But right now, Dark Wavy eliminates Dan, the man who's also been on the stairs, so he shuts that down. Wavy on Circle Desk challenging a couple of people in to server side of things. But now it's going to be Leventus taking on that gunfight. So maybe he'll be successful onto that. But it's now a little bit of a stalemate. But DMNK wants to close this down really soon. Everybody getting into position. Noctos does eliminate Jason. Leventus adds onto the kill count. But Noctos says, no ways, Leventus, you have to get shut down right now. But as on the reload, crushes, finishes Alex. And Mario also finishes Noctos. And Mario adds onto the kill count and ends the match with a 7-3 lead. And Consulate goes to DMNK.
It's not the end of the world though, as this is a best of 3, and DNMK take things with a 1-0 lead against the opponent's Dark Esports. It was a good attempt from both teams. Leventus there being the MVP, 10 kills on him, Mario getting his 11 and Crushes 10 as well. Good job on those entries especially. But my, that scoreline kind of not betrays, but it kind of lies to you, because it was, I feel, a much closer game, especially when Dark Esports were on their defense. They did struggle a little bit when they were attacking, but when they're on their defense, they really woke up.
Yeah, they woke up for about a round or two in the first 2 rounds of their defense, but they couldn't keep up the momentum, and DMNK just came back, and they had more urgency, and I think that paid a lot of dividends to their attacks. And Dark Esports couldn't manage DMNK's attacks. And the major difference between the two teams was that DMNK wasn't attacking from one side. They didn't all flood a section of a map. Even though they may have entered into the same place, they all fanned out into different positions, and they were able to sort of cut rotations and trap other defenders into whatever positions they were holding. And that made it really hard for Dark Esports, and they couldn't manage that at all. Even though all the kills happened closer to the end of the round when there was like a minute, 10 seconds left, they still managed their time really well. They still try to get a plant off. And even though Dark Esports stopped a couple of those plants, DMNK had the man count. And I mean, they have Leventus, who was just eliminating everything in his path. So yeah, it worked out pretty well for DMNK.
Absolutely. And the information game that we had been hyping all night yesterday from Dark Esports is seemingly nowhere to be seen today. I don't know whether it's because Zeno is not playing, Noctos has taken his spot. So maybe that change in the team composition could have, I guess, thrown off the synergy that was there last night. But maybe it's also due to the fact that when DNMK were defending, they, like you very well pointed out, William, they had a Mozi, they had a Mute, and they just had setups that were installed in such a way that Dark Esports really had to spend so much time trying to break them down before they were even able to get into the bomb site.
Yeah. And especially the fact that the Thatcher either kept losing his life very early on into the rounds or being taken a lot of damage and was forced to retreat. You couldn't either disable some of that utility or destroy some of that utility. So it was very well played by DMAK. Dark Esports needed to find a way. And like, you have the Thatcher. That is a very dense utility operator, and you need to keep him alive. And I don't think he had a lot of support most of the time. So they need to watch out for that and make some sort of adjustment, especially when you have the Thatcher on the board. That's a massive advantage that you need to take into account. But right now, we're moving over to Clubhouse. I don't think there's going to be a break or whatsoever. But back at home, everybody do remember there is a question on the World League ESP Twitter, which is Valkyrie's real name. So if you can name her, please name her fully. See if you Valkyrie mains out there do know your stuff. So yeah, answer that question, and you'll be entered into the draw to win a mouse pad or a T-shirt. And Olympus. So we're heading over to Clubhouse, more
Right.
defender sided, and yeah. Do you see Dark Esports waking up this time and bringing it to DMNK, or do you see DMNK riding off of that momentum?
I mean, as I consult my notes here, yesterday Dark Esports started the series against VG on Clubhouse, and their attacks were really good. And again, it was because they had such good information, and the rounds weren't coming down to that 20-second meta. So, what my hope is that Dark Esports are more comfortable on Clubhouse, and given that they are starting on attack yet again, they are able to get a few rounds in the bag and not let such an avalanche of an advantage go into the favor of DNMK early on. So I am hopeful, I am optimistic, but the realistic side of my mind is telling me, given how strongly DNMK are playing, and then also the momentum and the rush, that 1-0 victory, that rather than 1-0 scoreline that they have right now in this best of three, is going to just carry on over into Clubhouse. And I think it's going to be close. I really do hope it's going to be close, but I think DNMK right now, the way things stand, they're looking good.
Yeah. What concerns me more is that Dark Esports couldn't deal with DMNK's roam clear on a small map. And now we're heading over to a much larger map that's going to be more of a bigger problem. So, or maybe they prefer the bigger maps because they have more room to sort of move around and fan out. And maybe they were feeling a bit claustrophobic in Consulate. So, hopefully, they increase their urgency in their attacks in Clubhouse. So it seems like the players are ready in the lobby, and we should be getting into the ban phase momentarily. Oh, we're waiting on DMNK, as production says. So yeah, Olympus. I don't know. Judging by that match, I've voiced my concerns, but I am not taking anything away from DMNK. They've been playing really superb, especially on that map. They've had attack. It was slowing down a little bit in the beginning, but they managed to pick it up. They saw the flaws, they saw their mistakes, and they rectified it. And they just put their leading man in front, which was Leventus, and said, "Listen, just shoot everybody down, and we'll do the rest." And that's what they basically did.
The strategy right now for DNMK is we have Leventis, we win the round. And last night that's what it was looking like for Ivor, because he was the entry fragger for their team. On Clubhouse, he walked away with a 13K. On Oregon, he walked away with an 8K. So a total of, what does that make? 20 what? I'm not too good at off-head math, to be honest with you, but he walked away with a lot of kills there, and I kind of want to hope that he's waking up right now, because when he does, I think that's going to shift things so much into the favor of his team. Nonetheless, we will be getting right into the ban phase, and not surprisingly, Thatcher is gone. He is off the board, and do you think we're going to see an Ayana ban?
I don't know. I kind of forgot about that ban, really. But we do see a Monty ban Olympus, which he is been known to be banned a lot in a clubhouse. So, yeah, no shields are coming in and pressing you to fall back or worry about another player behind him. So, yeah, a bit of a standard ban, and a Maestro being the second ban at that. I'm not sure if that's a target ban or if it's just a standard thing. I mean, sometimes you do want a Maestro in Clubhouse. It's very deadly, especially holding either Church or Raptors when you're holding CC and Garage. So, yeah, getting rid of him, I don't know. I mean, there's still players like Mozzie, Jaeger, Wamai. So, yeah, we'll see.
I mean, Crushers was playing Maestro to good effect last map, so I think that could be a target ban. maybe. But right now, it's a triple M. Monty, Maestro, Mira, all gone off the board. And that leaves a lot of, I guess, flexibility in how teams can play. Because I feel like when there wasn't this ban system, even in ranked, like if you had a Mira, you just play her. It's standard. There's no debate about it. And it was always
Oh,
the
yeah.
same setups. It was always the same attacks, and I feel like it was kind of stale. So when there is the
Attackers need to
ability to
locate and
ban
defuse
someone
the bomb.
as influential as Mira, as Sasha, it creates so much creativity in terms of how you can set up the fight, and conversely, how you can take the fight.
That's true. I couldn't have said it better myself. And especially for the fact that, she gets banned so much, there's no point in including her in the strats anyway. So it's she becomes kind of, I don't want to say useless. I just don't know what word to use. But
Redundant.
yeah, she becomes really
5 seconds
redundant.
left before
So
insertion.
players do need know how to deal with the mirror nowadays. You either go below or above. So ever since the vertical play became much more of a strategy than before, it's kind of easier to deal with the mirrors anyway. So right now, an attack is coming from the bottom floor, and that is a Dark Esports. Right now, they're looking a bit spread out, which I'm kind of glad to see. So they're not grouped up and bunched up in one area right now. So, but top priority does have to be that CCTV wall, but it doesn't seem like they minding it at all. But the Xeno, who wasn't in the match before, but he is in this match right now, is going to be working on a CCTV wall as the Maverick. Wavy, either these players know something we don't, as they're going below, or they might be trying to flank somebody, especially somebody if they're playing in secret. So they do know something we know, and that's Mario down in Armory. And he's just going to be sitting there comfortably. Really a rather unorthodox alone, and more unorthodox to see Dark trying to approach him, as it is very far from sight right now. They might want to cut him off at some point, but I don't think approaching him head on is the best idea.
Unorthodox is the word I use to describe the positioning of these players, but right now, though, as half the round has gone, there's not much in terms of action except for Crusher's nearly getting eliminated. He's on his last bar of HP, holding onto this costume with his life. I'm not exactly sure where he took damage from, but I think it must have been from Wavy from below as he an operator I haven't seen too much of in this tournament, and one who I mained a lot. I'm glad to see he's in play. As I look at the stats here, Bart has been played something like 21 times in this tournament so far, compared to the 68 that Ash has been played. Yeah, I'm glad to see a Bart in play. Stats courtesy of our stat team, Levi, by the way. Big shout out to you.
That is true indeed. And there's Mario playing in secret again. And what a disgusting shot onto Ivor. He didn't see anything but darkness. And he is sent into the shadow realm right now, and not coming back anytime soon, except on the next round. As he goes into camera work, Wavy is working on trying to get control over Rasmus, and the Ventus back on the tear again, eliminating Zeno, and Noctos eliminates the Ventus and shutting his head down. Mario still downstairs, causing a little bit of trouble, but Wavy does eliminate Mario, so now they can go for the execute. And while we say that, there's only 8 seconds left. Leaving in some toxic canisters. Somebody does need to make a move, and Naka does push in to get that plant down. Crushes eliminates Noctos, and the bandit is cut off trying to stop the plant. He's eliminated. The Mew tries to attack him. Crusher does eliminate somebody, and viewers, everybody is falling. That shotgun is just eliminating Dark Esports right now. Crushes with the Mute, and that is how Mute is played, ladies and gentlemen.
My word, what a round that was. It came to a 1v1 in the end against two support players against one another, and I don't think it could be any closer than that. We were saying how half the round had gone and not much action going on. And then at the end, it just started collapsing. That's the 20-second meta personified right there. And it was so chaotic. Naka was able to get the plant down, which I have to say came from the amazing support and cover that Wavy was providing for him, because he was holding down the angles that anyone could come from. He got one player in the post plant, but then the shotgun from who was playing the shotgun there? I'm not entirely sure. Was it
Crushes.
Gentleman? Oh, Crushers. Yeah, Crushers there was just he was superior, and he takes that round, and it's 1-0
Attackers
up
need to
for
locate and
DNMK.
defuse bombs.
Hopefully, we're going to see some, I guess, faster hits from Dark. That was a really good one, I have to say. That was really well done. Though the kills that they had started to get, I feel like they were impactless, but they were kills that they should have been getting much earlier into the round. So now that the fight is in Jim Brown and there is a Blackbeard on the board, surprise, surprise, hopefully those windows will play into his favor, and either is going to step up and get the impactful kills on the ankle play outside, and then give his team much better chances to win.
Attackers are moving out to
True
locate a bomb
indeed,
and
and you said it well there, Olympus. Is that they had a good attack, but time is still a factor, and it's not looking good for Dark Esports at the end of the day. The attack was great, but time management wasn't perfectly done. And at this point in time and at this stage of the tournament, you need to cross your T's and dot your I's, because just that little 5 to 10 seconds that you're missing out on, you might need near the end, because I think they just needed another, I would say, 5 more seconds, and they probably could have turned out different. But they need to keep an eye out on the time, because DNMK is playing time very perfectly at the moment. They are using time to their advantage, and it's just destroying Dark. And all the rounds are just coming down to the margin, which might be very frustrating for Dark Esports. But they should just keep their heads on their shoulders and not get too frustrated, and just try to rise above those challenges.
Right now, they do definitely need to rise above the challenge. And right now, if this Maverick rises a little bit too high, Crusher could eliminate his head. It's so close right now. I don't think Maverick knew that there was someone on the other side of the wall waiting for him, but now he surely does, as he has opened a little door on the inside of the map, and there's some pressure coming out from the attack to get to the eastern side of the map. So there is something of a split state, but again, it's coming a bit slowly, as we have 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the board. Nothing has happened. If you're a test player, you can understand what I mean when I say you need to simplify the board. You need to simplify the situation. If there's still a lot of pawns, a lot of enemy pawns on the board, you need to get rid of them, because they're gonna be in the way of your attack. And right now, Dark Esports does what they need to kill and then move on from there.
Indeed, and as we see what that castle is doing right now, is trying to draw Dark Esports in, but Naka and Wavy eliminating Leventus and Dan the man, but Jason returns fire and eliminates Naka. Wavy has taken control over red stairs right now. It's looking pretty bad for DNMK, but Jason with a run out with his cross and eliminates Zeno and somebody else, but Iva answers back with a kill onto Crushers. This is looking much better for DNMK right now, as Wavy is down but not out. He's going to be picked up right now. 12 seconds left, and it's looking really dark for Dark Esports, and they're going to have to challenge those with Frost Magazine on the window, Frost Magazine on the stair, shoots the Goyo's shield and eliminates his fire. They can't walk into sight, and Jason finishes the round off with an ace from the Frost. Wow.
A Frost Ace, that's not something you see a lot of, especially in the competitive scene, but well done to Jason, as he's single-handedly able to fell every single member of Dark Esports, and they just, well, there you have it. There isn't really much to be said. You have Jason, you win. It's as simple as that. Now it's not so much Leventis. Now it's Jason who is the man about town. He's the man who is finding kills where he needs to. I want to point out that there was something like 30 seconds left that round, and Dark Esports was still fighting for their lives on that construction side of the map. They hadn't made a good enough progress to get into
Defenders,
Gym
protect
and
your
Bedroom,
bombs
which
from
was
being
the actual
defused by
site.
attackers.
And I don't know whether it comes down to Twitter being banned or them not bringing as many hard breaches as they have brought this round, as they have two. But the split push, I think, is what was happening. Because usually the full wall would be opened to apply pressure, and then maybe you get someone in logistic on the hatch, and then the rest of the team would be coming in from construction. And eventually the collapse on the people in that side of the map would be too
10
much, as they would
seconds
have
left
too many
before
angles to
insertion.
watch. I'm not entirely sure. I'm speculating at this point,
5
as I
seconds
can
to
only do.
insertion.
I'm not listening into the comms of either of the teams. But that
Attackers must
is how
locate and
that round
defuse the
played out.
bomb.
And we go into round number 3. Touch is being brought out here. It could spell trouble for Dark Esports, because the site that has like the most goal potential on the map is this one. And we've seen how Dark Esports are struggling with the roam.
They are struggling with the room, and right now it seems like they're gonna try and take tunnel and kitchen, which is a viable push. They're gonna be met with some electrified hatches, and Jason upstairs with the visual is gonna be tempering their assault onto kitchen and making it a bit harder for them to breach that kitchen hatch. Right now, Dan the man is gonna be causing trouble in tunnel. So he's going to be playing comfortably right there until he is absolutely moved. We do see a 0 on the board. So the information is really key right now as they're doubling down on it. So you see, Wavy bringing extra cameras to just try and get more intel on them. As we know, DMNK has been really good on the information in our side of things, and that's been causing a lot of trouble for Dark Esports. They're just going to be working on those kitchen floors, so
located by
to move the
attackers.
defenders around a little bit. And right now, while I'm saying defenders, they are in the top floor roaming. Dark Esports needs to do something about this, because those X-Towers are probably going to be shot by somebody from the top floor, who is Jason right now. If he heard it, and no, he's not going to be approaching it because he knows somebody is probably on the hatch.
It looks though that Jason and Leventus have been for the most part ignored by the attackers, and that's going to be a pain that's gonna probably bite them in the back, quite literally, as they attempt to collapse further onto the site. Right now, though, there is some good progress being made by Dark. They're getting the hatches open that they need to. The kitchen one is open. The one in blue, I assume, is, and then shortly the one in motor will be getting opened as well. And the workings of an execute start to happen here, though it's shut down immediately. Zeno gone, Nandaman going huge there. That's very much but he's holding on to that tunnel with his life. Naka taking some damage. I'm not entirely sure where from. But right now he's not in the kitchen. He's on the hatch, kicking through it on the red crushes. He crushes Naka's head off, and Ivor gets him as well. A beautiful refrag. Now it's danger time. It's showtime, as there are 20 seconds left. Ivor has the diffuser, and he should start getting this plant attempt going. The Ventus guy, I said, he's gonna bite him back. He gets a kill onto Wavy. It's just 2 versus 4 left. Successfully though, the diffuser is planted, and it's looking so much better right now. 2v3 make that a 1v3, as Ivor is the last one left. It's a 1v2 now. He's so close. He has 2 full HP defenders to get through, and he has the positioning as well. He's here on box 1. He one so low, Leventis is not able to get him. Jason should be there for the refrag, though he's actually attempting to go for the diffuser, which I think is a smart play to make right now. He's going around the roses here on this door, and he's able to defuse the diffuser. Oh my goodness. Jason, he was just quietly in the back doing what he needed to do, while the Leventis kept his team, his opponent rather, occupied.
Yep. They DMNK are outplaying Dark Esports right now. Dark Esports couldn't deal with was it Leventus on the visual?
It was Jason on the vigil, Leventis
It
was
was
on Jaeger.
okay. Yeah, so they couldn't deal with them earlier on. And they did get attacked by them at some point, but they just left them there. I remember the 0 kind of putting some fire onto the visual while he was on the hatch. And I don't know if there was a call made that the visual was there, and they just left them alone and pushed down into stairs. And as Olympus said,
Attackers need to
it
locate and
literally
defuse
came
bombs.
back to bite them in the back, and that it did because it gave DMNK a round. Dark Esports really needs to deal with one of those Romans at least to just soften the blow and only deal with maybe one flank, because right there both Visual and the Jaeger came back for a flank and they did quite a bit of damage. So Dark Esports needs to have a lot more urgency onto their attacks and stop getting the plant off in the last 5 to 10 seconds of the round, because it's not working out. Change up the strategy a little bit.
Attackers must locate
I can
and
only
defuse the
imagine
bomb.
how things would have played out like if Dark Esports had decided to invest heavily in getting rid of Jason and Juventus, who are the Romans. Because those are the last two who survived at the end of the round, right? And if even just one of them was dead, well, the round wouldn't have played that way, because Jason was on the diffuser, disabling it, while Leventis was just keeping, was it Nocturus?
I think it was. It might have been. I can't remember.
Nocturus was being kept busy by the Jaeger. So if there wasn't anyone disabling that diffuser, that would have been a round for them. But it could have, would have, should have, it's all in the past. You can't really think. What you can do though is try to get this CCTV wall open. Jason decides to fall off of it. If there were a Thatcher and another had opened the wall, or was trying to open the wall, maybe he could have managed to trick that, but those heat holes there that Nocturus is shooting through just make it a death sentence. And Jason does right thing, falls off to bed kill, and right now the wall is still jammed, so that Massage isn't going off, but they are trying to get it open.
Yep, rather odd take on trying to get that wall open. Normally you'd want an explosive or some sort once the wall is off to just breach it open, but using an ace charge is quite bizarre, because if there's still anything blocking it, it's going to stop it. But at the end of the day, it does work out, and yeah, it's quite a bit of a messy breach to say the least. So they're going to need to spend a little bit of time cleaning that up before they can either jump in, or I don't think they're going to be able to jump into those holes. But Wavy does take a lot of damage from the player either playing in Raptors or deep in Garage, that is Mario. But then the man starts off with a kill onto Wavy, but Ivor eliminates Dan the man, so that's an equal man count. And as I say, equal, Zeno gets a pick of his own onto Mario, leaving DMNK with 3 players left. That's the Mute Bandit and the Jaeger to clean up the mess. The Jaeger playing an aggressive position down in bar entrance, and Dark Esports is now poised to get a defuse down or an execute happening right here. Oh, grenade flies from Zeno and eliminates Leventus, leaving 2 players left. Good news for Dark Esports right now, but time is dwindling down with only 22 seconds left. They need to make something happen here and not wait. That C4 is going to be very deadly if they plan to fall. But C4 doesn't catch anyone. Naka gets the diffuser down, but no need. Zeno eliminates Jason, and that's a round for Dark Esports.
The team from Mauritius has to be feeling good here as they stop that what would have been a 4-0 advantage for DNMK. So it's looking good for them right now, and it's not too difficult a task to come back. 2 rounds is what separates these 2 teams. So hopefully round 5 and round 6 could be the equalizers for Dark Esports if they continue to play as they have played last round. Of course, we'll remind you all that this is the lower bracket for the WLE 10K, and we're at a stage where if you lose, you're out. You're shown the door and you're kicked out by the boots of your opponents, and that ciao ciao, bye, and you'll not be seeing any of that prize pool. So both teams are playing absolutely out of their hearts right now, putting up all they have and throwing everything they have, even throwing the kitchen sink at this point at the opponent to try and get themselves to so much needed victory and get themselves out of the season.
Yep, and Olympus right now, Dark Esports do need some sort of victory. They've been on the back foot in this matchup ever since the beginning, and they've been struggling to catch up to DNMK's plays right now. But we do see a clash. Olympus, that's going to be interesting. They banned the shield on attack, and they're bringing a shield on defense. So this is going to be... It's either going to work out really well for DNMK, and it's going to be very, very difficult for Dark Esports, or I don't know, it might be very troublesome for DNMK if Dark Esports plays their cards right.
I mean, Ivar has the Nomad, which is one of the better direct counters to the Clash, and that could come into play. I would have loved to see a Zofia, though Ivar has switched off of Zofia, so maybe someone else could have played her. For example, Wavy, who has now chosen to play the Jackal, and these are just good reads coming out, if I can guess so, from the attacking side, because the roam game is what they have been struggling with. So what do? Hey, you bring a Jackal.
Yeah. 100%. So the Jackal will mitigate that roaming play from DNMK. And right now, very quick access onto the west wall, I believe. So, yeah, good progress. But here's my issue with Dark Esports, right? They haven't been bringing an Ashe or a Zofia. And an Ashe and a Zofia paired up with the Maverick is a very dangerous combo, because you can easily open that wall like with immediate effect. Right now, it's dangerous for the Sledge to be sledging that, because if somebody's contesting that, which I think Mario is thinking about doing right now, it puts the Sledge in a very bad position. So rather bring a buck or an explodey thing and like explode the wall rather than putting a player in danger.
Well, they were able to eventually get the wall open, and good on them, which is good time management. Though now they kind of stall as they are met face to face with this Clash, and they what to do. Not just on the other side of now, it's taking so much damage. Mario is able to eliminate Xeno. That's the Maverick who is gone, and this takes not lost is eliminated. Mario has the 2 kills for his team this round, and 40 seconds are left. The Clash is still on the board, and a peek from the main stairs. Naka is able to get it, though his teammate Lady is on the floor. Could be picked off by the zap from the from Jason, and that's exactly what happens here. 2 versus 4, an opposite man counter, what we saw last round. It's up to Naka, the support, and Ivar, the fragger. What magic do they have after speed? Well, there we go. He's able to get Reventis, and then Naka is on the ground as Dandaman makes a wide swing, as does Ivar, but there's too many guns. The barrels are too many for him to fight off, and he is eliminated from the board.
You see, that's another issue that Dark Esports had to deal with. There were still castle doors up, and they only had a Sledge, and those castle doors were deeper into sight, meaning you have to expand a player to actually walk to the castle doors and take them down. And that is where the Ashe or Zofia comes into play, because they can deal with that from a distance. As we see, Wavy switching over to the Ashe, so he's probably noticed that they have been bringing a castle, and he's probably going to deal with it. But DNMK is not bringing a castle this time. They're going to be bringing an Aruni. That is another good read by them, because right now Dark Esports is bringing Zofia and Ashe. So DNMK right now is on top of the ball, and they are making good reads, and it's crushing Dark Esports at the moment.
That's just some of the mind games that make Siege what it is. The games that make Siege, the mid games, as some call them, that make Siege what it is. Such a beautiful experience of a game to play. Expected as well. Right now, the Aruni is what I have my eyes on, because I've seen her being utilized in such creative ways ever since she was introduced into the competitive scene. For example, since we are on Church as the defenders, she played a gate on the kitchen hatch, and that could just, throw a spanner in the works for the attackers, because once you go through the monumental task of getting the hatch open in the first place, because there's a Kaid, then there's an Aruni gate staring you in the face, and that means, well, something else has to be spent, either a flashbang or a nade, or if you're absolutely desperate, maybe your own body.
Yeah. And that doesn't work out too well if you expand in your own body onto those gates, because you are going to take a lot of damage. And another thing to point out with the Aruni gates is the fact that once they are disabled, at some point in time they can be re-enabled by just shooting at the thing. So this might play out well into DNMK's strategy, and very detrimental to Dark Esports because of time management on their side hasn't been good tonight. So if they disable one of the gates, they have to make a move almost immediately, because at some point DNMK will re-enable that door, and they're gonna have to start from scratch again. And right now it seems like they have intensified the attack as they're going full on into kitchen and opening up that floor. Right now, Jason is on the top floor, so he's going to cause a little bit of trouble because he can punch the floor and get a line of sight onto any of the kitchen players
William,
down.
are you a prophet? Because that's exactly what he goes on to do. And I was just gonna say, I'm like the opposite of that. But I was gonna say that there isn't a roam game from DNMK because they're operating paper roam, solo room with any of them. But then we have the presence of Leventis and Jason on the top floor. As we can see here, he's dropped into the strip club side of things, and he's essentially behind the attackers who are in kitchen. Leventis drops here into the garage, so this is a massive pinch for them.
Wow.
If they are able to play the timing correctly. Right now, the attack continues slowly, and fleeing from the bathroom, he doesn't find the guy who's going down the main stairs. Decides to go back to the pool table. Right now, it's just a waiting game though, and neither of these teams are in a position to make a massive play happen.
Yep, one damaged the other. Right now, the Aruni is on 5 HP, and Noctos is only on 10 or 20 HP left. But all 5 players are still on the board. They still have their guns up, so any damage could be done. Leventis back on the chair. This man has been on the board this match, eliminating Ivor and Naka, also eliminated by Mario, but Wavy does get a pick of his own onto Mario. So damage is done, but at least it's not that intense. Right now, Zeno is in sight and getting the flank down. Crusher doesn't know about this, or at least he does know, but he doesn't know where it's happening, but it is stopped by some player. And Dan, the man with that shotgun, has also been some sort of a monster for Dark Esports right now. Things are not looking good, and Dan, the man, and Leventis have been absolute crazy with whatever operators they've been using right now, especially Dan, the man on the shotgun on the mute. And right now, we're going to see Leventis probably hop onto an Ash of some sort. And let's say that. Yes, Olympus, I am some sort of a prophet today. So.
Yeah, you're absolutely on a roll with your predictions. And I think that you might not be so much in the general scheme of things, because Dark Esports are on a 5-1 scoreline, not looking too good for them. You were rooting for them, but how are you feeling now? What's your confidence like, given how they've been playing so far?
This is not the Dark Esports that I saw in like the earlier stages of the tournament.
It hurts so much to see, you know, how they're playing last night compared to what they're playing today. I mean, they're playing well, but the synergy, the coordination, the drone work from last night compared to how we're seeing them play right now, it's just night and day difference, worlds apart. Absolutely.
It is indeed. Something is not. I mean, sometimes that happens, right? You just have a bad day at the office, and it's just not your game. So maybe it's just one of those days, and they just can't put a pin on exactly what is missing. And it seems like it's always the same story. At some point in time, they stalling a little bit. They get a pick here, and they're just not paying attention. I mean, the 2 or 3 roamers who had a flank on them were just freely flanking, no flank drones. I didn't see any, and if there were, they were well hidden, but it didn't seem like they were effective because DNMK were able to fully flank them, and it just didn't work out. So Dark Esports is missing something, and right now, Dan the man is just flying away right now, eliminating Wavy as a lead-off pick for DNMK, and Dark Esports on the back foot with that Jaeger off the board. Very important operator to be dealt with. Even though he's dead, the trophy systems are still going to be up, so at least he's a little bit healthier at the end of the day.
Let me just say that last round when Danderman and Juventus were absolutely going ham on the defense, we were just watching Crushers who was just kind of picking up the boxes and not much was going on his team. But in the background, you just hear the shotgun blasts going wham wham, knocking more and more players into the ground. Danderman has been huge, and he's the one who's found the opening kill on the Wavy this round. Juventus, on the other hand, has been knocked down as well. So it's kind of even right now, considering how good those two players have been for their teams, respectively. Right now, though, it's a minute and 30 to go, so half the round or so is left. And I don't know if it's the same story, but it looks like to me that DNMK are also kind of on a stall. Maybe they are just getting their drones, as you can see here in the garage. Oh, this defender is a dead man because they have they have a capital as well. I'm surprised he's still alive. Going to fight for this position for his life, but the flames force him to move, and then the man is there to capitalize on it. It's a double kill for him. Ivor gone. Naka and Noctus are left as they start things off. Jason is eliminated. 1 minute to go, and there's so much action going on. I can't even catch my breath. Mario is there. He finds Noctus. Just up to Naka left, and it's match point for DNMK.
DNMK throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, onto Dark Esports, and Dark Esports cannot handle it at all. As we saw there, the players in Rafters had no chance in hell of surviving that and was eventually eliminated. I think one of them came out with a kill, but DNMK was just too much. Most of them were pushing onto Rafters, and as we know, once you take Rafters is a very pivotal point in CCTV take. Once they had control of that, they were able to just flush into side. I think one of them pushed up into red stairs. I'm not sure, I may be wrong, but nonetheless, DNMK came out on top in that round. Dark Esports needs to pick it up. They only have 1 round in the bag, so they have 5 more to go. This might be a good time for them to take a timeout of some sort. I know I've claimed to be some sort of prophet, but I'm not. Because I was hoping they kind of take the timeout that moment that I say they take a timeout. But that's not happening. They're going to go back to CCTV and cash. Maybe they saw the mistakes they made and they're going to rectify them and hopefully come out on top this time. If that doesn't happen, as we know, it's match point, which means DNMK will move on and Dark Esports will be sent home.
Yep, that is the story tonight, and it should end right here, right now. As DNMK are 1 map up against their opponents, and they're on match point. They are on map point. They're on elimination point for Dark Esports, so they have to play absolutely cracked out of their minds right now to stop this from being a team sweep. And this is something completely out of topic, William, but do you listen to piano music?
Piano music or Amapiano?
Amapiano.
No, I've never heard of them.
Oh, really?
No, who are they? Do they make piano music or do they make
That's the first thing that's the first thing I also thought when I heard the word, but trust me, it's confusing to everyone. Oh,
that's also confusing to me as well.
but anyway, it's a South African genre of like new age house music, and I think that's nice. Though right now the music that Noctus is facing is too much for him to handle. He's just as I should be played to the T.
And right now, again, Mario eliminating Ivor. That players in Rafters is just having a bad time at the moment. And again, eliminated very early. But Dynaman is off the picture as well. Ivor and Noctus are off the board, which leaves Wavy Naka and Zeno to deal with the mess. So that means Zeno is going to have to get aggressive a little bit on that echo, which is not what you want, or that's not what you want to be forced into. Crush is breathing in the toxic canister. being thrown early, which might be slowing down the attackers right now. That is what they need to do, Dark Esports, because right now they're on the back foot.
Bomb located
All
by
of their
attackers.
players are in full HP, and DMNK's players have taken a little bit of damage. But they do have control over Raptors at the moment. 2 players in there, but they're going to be faced with barrels of shotguns and SMGs, and I think one of Echo's guns. So, and Echo drone is being taken out, so that might make the plant much easier, but they still have to deal with the toxic chemistry.
50 seconds are left for Wavy, Naka, and Zeno to stop what could be a DNMK victory overall and stop themselves from getting eliminated. But Mario is there and he gets Zeno off the board. So bad right now. It's a 1v4, make that a 0v4. DNMK take the win, they take the series 2-0 as it's a best of 3. That is it for Dark Esports. The team from Mauritius has put up such a fight throughout this tournament, but they have met their match.
Well, as I prepare myself to search for some piano music, Dark Esports is going to walk away from the tournament and will be needing some piano music to send them back home. But well played from them. But I believe that that wasn't the Dark Esports that we know. Something was off. So hopefully they are able to still keep their chin up and fix whatever mistakes they faced and whatever issues they had that sort of turned them off this game. They are able to fix that. But congratulations to DMNK taking Consulate and Clubhouse. I think Consulate was 7-3 and Clubhouse is 7-1. They played really well and they were just on top of things throughout the game. So well played to them. I they couldn't have done better. I mean 7-1. You can't argue with that.
That's all there is to be said, really, when the scoreline is 7-1. DNMK were playing the music and the opponents, Dark Esports, were just dancing to the tune. It was a bit too fast for their feet to keep up, and they were tripping up a little bit as Consulate, like you said, 7-3. It started off much the same way. DNMK were just holding on to those defenses so strongly. And it was the same story from that map to this one. A little bit of slow work coming out from the attacks from Dark Esports. And eventually, I feel like that cost them. But I don't want to be too harsh on them. I don't want to be seen like I'm criticizing them too much. They played well. I absolutely loved what they were playing, how they were able to trip up um, DNMK, for example, on their cafeteria and on the CEO defenses, but it just wasn't enough to stop how well DNMK were playing. DNMK were playing how Dark Esports were playing yesterday.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, at this point in time in a tournament, you have to bring everything. I mean, DMK was just throwing everything they had at Dark Esports. And that's what you need to do at this point in time in a tournament. You can't slow down for anything. And yeah, they did play well. It just wasn't enough. And for DMNK, they played their game and it was enough. And they managed to pull out the victory. There were a couple of moments where I thought there was some sort of a comeback that was going to happen, maybe on the switch, maybe on the defense or on the attack side of things that might bring it back, or on defense side of things that might bring it back. They just didn't manage to do that. DMNK's attacks are just too solid. They have more urgency in this matchup. We've seen Dark Esports have urgency and roam clear and getting info at the same time, which is not what we saw in these two maps. And as Olympus said, DMNK played like Dark Esports was playing yesterday, which is using that info, denying info, and using more info and roam clearing with efficiency and getting those plans down, which is what DMNK did, and Dark Esports couldn't. And the better team won, and we'll be seeing them soon, and more games will be shown tomorrow, as that was the only game for tonight. And I think tomorrow we'll be seeing Vibin. And whoever wins, I think I'm not quite 100% sure. But anyway, tomorrow we'll be seeing more games. So tune in for that. And don't forget, it is a 48-hour question that you guys can answer, which was Valkyrie's real name. And you will be entered into a draw to win either a mousepad or t-shirt.
Right, you've really said it all, William. Thank you so much to everyone for watching. Thank you for subscribing and for following us on all our social media. And we will see you tomorrow. From Olympus, it's cheers and peace.
Bye.
I know it's a game I'm not gonna play, but maybe you should do whatever you need to erase me. It's all just a game. You think I'm gonna play, but maybe you should do whatever you need to erase me. Baby, baby,
right here in the middle ground is where we'll stand. Let go of the riddle, 'cause you'll find life is a riddle that we're not meant to understand. Understand. Just look on, and I'll look down, and oh